our new friend here?
Yep, free agency in the NBA starts June 30th, and I wanted to officially welcome Shams to his first week of free agency at the Worldwide Leader and express my condolences. You have no idea what you're in for when you've got calls from shows and radio coming in at all hours of the night. I know you don't sleep much as it is, but that week, as you know, you will sleep less, and I pity you.
You know what? Phone lines are open. We're ready. We're ready for business.
That's exactly right. And we are all loaded up today. Markeith is ready to go today on the hoops. Dominique ready with some football today. And we have a bunch of special guests coming this morning as well. So let's get rolling. Only one place to start, because yesterday was Flagg Day, and we spell it with 2 G's. It was a coronation we knew was coming. The Mavericks making Duke's Cooper Flagg the #1 overall pick in the draft 6 weeks after winning the lottery. Flagg will not turn 19 until December. He joins a Dallas team that has aspirations of contending immediately in the West on the heels of an injury-ravaged season that ended with elimination in the final play-in game. So, Michael Wilbon, just how good are these Mavericks?
But they got the assets, the human resources to be really, really good. And if all those guys are healthy in the lineup, and if Flagg is the third best player on that team, they can look at Oklahoma City and say, let's go drop the gloves now.
Okay, so he's talking big about this team, so let us dive directly into that. Markeith, when Kyrie Irving comes back healthy and Cooper Flagg gets himself situated in the middle of all of that, you were on the Mavericks for the first half of last season. Is this a team that could make a deep NBA playoffs run next year?
I think so. Obviously, I don't want to put too much into Cooper Flagg because he doesn't really have to even play extremely well for them to get there. They have other pieces like P.J. Washington, like Najee Marshall. So I don't think so. But if he comes and be exceptional like he is, for sure they have. You have to wait and see what it looks like when Kyrie comes back, because you don't know if that's going to be January, February. That's the most important thing I would say about this thing is just when does Kyrie come back? Is he extremely healthy, and how do they look if they are healthy?
Absolutely. I mean, look, the bottom line, Shams, look, back in February when you stopped the world by reporting that trade, I mean, I can't remember a fan base, a franchise that felt at a lower point than the Dallas Mavericks did in that moment. And now here we are, and Michael Wilbon, one of the most credible people in the entire industry, is talking title. What have they built here, and how did this happen?
Whatever you want to say about the Luka Doncic trade, Nico Harrison has built arguably the best front line in the NBA. You think about Anthony Davis, now Cooper Flagg, Derek Lively II. They just extended Daniel Gafford on a new 3-year, almost $60 million deal. The biggest key, though, of this season is going to be Kyrie Irving, the return to health that he's going to have. If he was healthy right now, we'd probably be talking about this team with the Thunder competing for a championship 1,000%. But that uncertainty on him, and I'm told the Mavericks are not going to be rushing him back. He personally is hopeful in targeting that January, February period. But that extension that he signed, Greeny, 3 years, 119, what it does is give Dallas the ability to use their taxpayer mid-level exception of just over $5 million. And they're going to use that to go find a stopgap type of point guard, a D'Angelo Russell, Chris Paul, Malcolm Brogdon. Those are the 3 names I'm told that are in play there potentially that they're going to have interest in. Who's that player going to be? What's the impact?
So they're not done. Talk to me about these Mavericks.
Yeah, I mean, that's the high priority because we don't know when Kyrie Irving's going to be back and where are they in the standings when he does come back. And it's similar where when Golden State made the Jimmy Butler trade. We thought that Warriors team was floundering. Basically, when Kyrie comes back, they're making a trade without giving up anybody, and that's going to be the most important thing. But the next week, how they find a temporary replacement for Kyrie Irving is the first order of business in Dallas.
So look, that is a trade that is going to be remembered, and we are going to be tracking the progress of Luka's Lakers versus the Mavericks. And so let's take a look at that. Cindy, A15, if you would please, because ESPN Bet is not buying into Dallas in the same way that Michael Wilbon is. They currently have the Mavericks as the 9th best odds to win the Western Conference. Only one team in the last 40 years, by the way, played in the finals the year after selecting number one. That was Cleveland in 2015. That shouldn't even really count. They drafted number one, traded that to get Kevin Love. They signed LeBron James. They completely remade their team. That's not exactly what's happening here. So the question is, as someone who was on both of these teams last year, Markeith, right now, if I was telling you either the Mavericks or the Lakers next year are going to wind up winning the West, which team would you tell me it's going to be?
I would say the Lakers, Greeny. Obviously I finished with them, but going into the playoffs, we had a lot of momentum, right? And like I said before, everybody was saying the Lakers was going to win the championship last year. I mean, let's not act like we don't remember that. So I would say with the Lakers because obviously they start their whole team off with everybody. Kyrie's not going to be healthy for majority of the season for Dallas. So I would say the Lakers, they add a big man, add another wing defender, keep their core pieces together. I think they're in prime position to make a run.
What move, Shams, is still sitting out there for the Lakers to make?
It's clear their biggest need is at center. Rob Pelinka has spoken about it ad nauseum that they need to find that. Will that be in the draft? Will that be in free agency? 1,000%, that's the big question. The other thing is the Dorian Finney-Smith of it all. He's got a player option. Does he opt in? Does he find another suitor elsewhere in free agency? So figuring out his free agency, but then also the biggest thing there is the center. And there's names like Brook Lopez, Clint Capella, Al Horford out there in free agency. Will it be that route or will it be the trade route? That's what everyone in LA, everyone in the league is waiting on.
Bobby, what's the fit as far as you're concerned?
Well, it has to be center here. And I think when you look at the conversation between Dallas and the Lakers right now, you kind of like where Dallas is because the unknown of where the Lakers could be here. They've got a ton of expiring contracts, $60 million in expiring contract. They've got one first-round pick. Rob Pelinka showed his hand at the trade deadline. He showed what he was willing to trade in a pick swap, an unprotected first. Mark Williams, who was traded last night to Phoenix from Charlotte, they have the assets to go out and try to get a center, but it's the question is who's that player going to be?
But by the way, one more thing on the Mavericks quickly. I'm not going to play the sound in the interest of time, but Nico Harrison was asked about Jason Kidd again, and he just sort of said, are we still talking about this? I'm asking you, are we still talking about this?
Jason Kidd is going nowhere.
Perfect. So we're not still talking about
I would say we would be. I would be highly concerned if I didn't see Jason Kidd sitting next to Nico Harrison last night when Cooper Flagg was drafted. And
Back to you.
He was clapping his hands.
He was.
Fair enough.
Jason Kidd was doing interviews all day about Cooper Flagg and his fit.
So all is well. Okay, good. So now we're feeling pretty good about things. Excellent. So that's where they all sit. Now let's run the floor. Shams, it was an exciting night.
Doing interviews all day about Cooper Flagg and his fit.
So all is well. Okay, good. So now we're feeling pretty good about things. Excellent. So that's where they all sit. Now let's run the floor. Shams, it was an exciting night. Jaylen Brown all day yesterday.
Never say never. Most of their heavy lifting is done. They got out of the second apron, shed $180 million. The calls, the interest definitely is certainly still coming in for Jaylen Brown and Derek White. There's a couple other players, Sam Hauser, Anthony Simons, that at minimum, if they do want to continue to shed even more out of the first apron, out of the luxury tax, they could. There's heavy interest in those two guys, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, but a very, very high price threshold if anyone wants them.
All right, we're going to go more deeply into that as we continue. And this, Milwaukee, Giannis's future sort of hovers out there. What should we be thinking?
A lot of observing, and he's been there for 12 years, so there's going to be that equity given to the Bucks. See what they do during the draft week, free agency week. How much can they improve this team in their moves? He said it. He wants to compete for a championship. Can the Bucks make those championship moves? His future, I've said it for the last few weeks, it won't be tied to the draft. It won't be tied to free agency. If there is a resolution on Giannis and Antetokounmpo, it could be later in the summer.
Okay, and then finally, the Warriors and Jonathan Kuminga, another team, pardon me, thinking deep playoff run thoughts out west. What's the latest with Kuminga?
The Miami Heat are going to emerge as an expected suitor for Kuminga in restricted free agency. And so we'll see what else the market bears for him. The Warriors are comfortable bringing him back as well. They're open-minded about signing trades. We've seen him speak openly about the fact that he wants to be in a bigger role. Is that role out there for him somewhere else? But the Heat, who missed out on Kevin Durant, look for them to be a potential suitor for Jonathan Kuminga.
Okay, so that's the latest around the league. Now let's circle it all the way back to the draft. Bobby, you were there last night covering it all. Let's do some draft declarations from round one. In your opinion, who was the biggest winner last night?
The Atlanta Hawks. They were able to move from 13 to 23. They pick up Asa Newell. Here's the big thing where Atlanta wins at. They pick up a first-round pick that's either going to be New Orleans or Milwaukee in a loaded 2026 draft. For me, Atlanta was the big winner. Keep an eye on them in free agency.
And that was a pick that you questioned last night.
Jan Hassoun from Portland here. He was a player that was projected to go in the second round. I think Jonathan Givony had him in the 90s in January.